Hi and welcome to Yoga Berry, your yoga for scoliosis community. I'm Christine Berry. I'm a yoga teacher specializing in yoga for scoliosis. And today I've got a few exercises for you for right thoracic curves. So if you have a right rib hump, they will be great for you. So let's get started. All you need for the practice today is a chair. So once you've got your chair, I'm going to turn around to show you. We're going to start with a little awareness exercise, and you can either come into kneeling if that's comfortable for you, or you can do this in standing if you have something about this height. So I'm using the chair here. So you want to have your left elbow elevated, and it should not be, the maximum would be shoulder height, not higher than that, and not a lot lower than that either. So see if you can find something similar. Setting yourself up here. And then, so we're working on the right rib hump, the right thoracic curve. Just to let you know, my main curve is in the lumbar spine, but I'm demonstrating this as if I had a bigger right thoracic curve. So I've got my left arm elevated, which creates space here on the left side of the body. And I'm going to direct my inhale into this side here. So every inhale, I'm breathing into the left side of the rib cage. And then on the exhale, I'm going to squash the shoulder blade down on the back. So I'm slightly externally rotating my arm so the shoulder comes back. And it's almost as if the shoulder blade gets squashed back in towards the spine. So every inhale, I'm breathing into the left side of the rib cage. Exhale, I'm squashing that shoulder blade back onto the spine. So this is an active pose here, what I'm doing with my right. On the left, I'm just creating space. Every inhale. Breathing into the left side of the rib cage. Exhale, just drawing that shoulder blade on a little bit more. Inhale and exhale. Good. Just make sure that your hips stay level, that you haven't started to kind of collapse over to the side, but you're still kind of lengthening from, into both sides here of the waist at the moment. Inhale into the left side of the rib cage. Exhale, squashing that shoulder blade on. So do this for about 10 breaths and then release for a moment and then come back to it for a second round. So let's do this again just to make sure we've got it right. So inhaling into the left side of the rib cage, exhale, squashing that shoulder blade on. Inhale and exhale. Good, so keep going. So what you're effectively doing is almost working against the thoracic curve. Good, and then let's release. So once you are familiar with this movement, you can basically take this into any yoga pose that you might be practicing. I'm going to just put the chair to the side for a moment as I come into extended puppy pose. So tucking your toes under, and we're going to come up onto the fingertips. And the hips are, to start with, just above the knees, maybe slightly further back. You can always bring something underneath your knees to make it more comfortable. So see if you can come back to this, creating space on the left side of the rib cage on the inhale. Exhale, drawing that shoulder blade down at the back, the right one. It's the right shoulder blade. And for that, you could slightly turn the right hand out. That makes it a little bit easier. So inhale, creating space on the left. Exhale, drawing that right shoulder blade down at the back. And then from there, we're slowly going to start to take the hip, the tailbone backwards towards the back of the rim. Not towards the heels, but backwards. So we're lengthening. We're creating traction in the spine. Imagine all the vertebrae of the spine separating like a pearl necklace. Inhaling and exhaling. So this is an active pose. Inhale and exhale. Let's do one more breath. And then release, just coming into child's pose. Just resting there for a few breaths. And then let's do this one more time. So coming up onto hands and knees, tuck the toes under, bringing the hands a little bit further forward. Every inhale, creating that space on the left side of the rib cage. Exhale, drawing the right shoulder blade down. Inhale and exhale. And then slowly starting to take the hips back a little bit more, creating that lovely traction in the spine. So there's not a lot to see, but there's a lot going on internally. So you're kind of separating, you're spreading through the whole spine, really imagining lengthening it a little bit more. Good, let's do one more, and we need our chair back for this one. And we're going to come up into standing, and we're going to have the left foot forward and the right foot back to begin with. So the left foot is closer to the chair and the right foot is back, and I've got my hands onto the chair. Now, if your hamstrings are really tight and this is not working for you, have something higher. So you could come up a little bit higher. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to come here because otherwise you can't see my head. Good, so the hips are level. So if you have a lumbar curve as well, this it's a different matter. So for the purpose of this, to keep it simple, we're just going to focus on the thoracic curve, and we're going to keep the hips level. Good, so from here, again, coming back to that breathing into the left side of the ribcage, imagine creating space here on the left side. And for that to happen, you could bring the left arm a little bit further forward. So every inhale, creating that space. Every exhale, bringing that shoulder blade, the right shoulder blade, back onto the back. And you might have seen I adjusted my hand slightly. So I brought it to the side and turned it out a little bit more. Good, so keep breathing. And this is a really nice stretch for the backs of the legs as well, which are linked to the lower back. So if you're suffering from back pain in the lower back, for example, very often the hamstrings have got something to do with this. Good, so one more breath. And then from there, we're slowly going to come all the way up and then changing sides. So right foot is forward, left foot is back. So I've got my foot slightly, I've got it turned in so my hips can face forwards, the hips stay level, not one hip coming forward from the other. Again, we want to fold here from the hips, not from the waist. So if this is too low for you with the seat of the chair, maybe you want to do this at the back of the chair, so come up a little bit higher. Good, again, just making sure that the hips are level. And then we're coming back to that thoracic curve. So bringing the left hand a little bit further forward to create that space here, inhaling. Exhale, drawing the right shoulder blade back and down. Inhale and exhale. Good. Keep breathing. One more breath. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then just coming back to center, and let's come into a neutral position, into half downward dog. So bend your knees here, and then we're just going to evenly stretch forward. So a little bit of stretch here into the whole of the spine. Good. And then slowly coming back up, coming into standing, or come back to sitting down on the ground. Good, so I hope you enjoyed this little exercise. Obviously, once you know what you're doing, you can take it pretty much into every single yoga pose. Feel free to join the Facebook community if you haven't done so already. There's lots of lovely people in there to inspire, to motivate each other, and just learn a little bit more about yoga for scoliosis.